it's important to remember that things are happening and that they are not happening to you. They are just happening. You have claimed some event as yours, as your personal tragedy, and you have put a lot of emotion into it, which you don't really need to, right? And you have cried, and you've spent sleepless nights, and you got anxious, and you got fearful thoughts. Oh my God, what's going to happen? How am I going to survive after this? What's going to happen to me? This should never have happened, and oh my God, life is so cruel, and all of that, right? All of those thoughts and emotions you've poured into this and put your identity, who you are, into that one event. Naturally, if something is taken away from you, and you think your entire life depends on it, you are going to be affected by it. When you look back at all the things that have happened to you, and stuff has happened, from the time you fell down and grazed your knee, small things, to your first breakup, to the first time you lost your money, lost your job, first death in the family, something close to you, to other tragedies in the country, political, economic, financial, so many things happening. There's so much happening. We just claim a couple of these things and say they're mine. They're mine. Now I have a right to be thoroughly miserable, thoroughly unhappy. And I say no. You have no business being unhappy and spreading doom and gloom. When things happen, it's a call to action. What can you do now to make people feel better? To hold their hand and walk along the way, to be their support system, to be the strong one there in the situation. Not the one that requires help, not the one that requires a crutch or a crane or a cane. You be the strong one in that tragedy. And then you have to realize that death is not a punishment. Maybe life is the punishment. And it's the place between death and life. That's heaven. Right? That's what we've been told. Or maybe neither life nor death need be punishments. They just are. That's why in the meditation, I encourage you to just be. You take whatever comes in your life without putting up a resistance to it. Because it is your inner resistance that makes something into a tragedy or a beneficial event, a good outcome. And unless you know bad times, you have no real appreciation of good times. We know this. We need the comparison. We need the comparison. If we are all the time high, going out, enjoying this, that, we don't know what is better, and we move from just pursuit of happiness to pursuit of pleasure to pure degradation. Very easily. Love and lust are on opposite ends of a continuum. It begins with love, which is an inclusive emotion, and it ends with lust, which is a selfish one. My desires above yours. Right? So all of these emotions and feelings, they lie on opposite ends of a continuum. On one side you have one, on the other side you have the other. You have a black so that there's white. You have a day so that there's night. You have good so that you understand what's bad. You have pain. And you have pleasure. And I'm asking you to bring yourself into the middle, where you're not affected either by the pain or by the pleasure, where the pain doesn't pull you down and the pleasure doesn't pull you so high that the crash is so terrible. Sometimes, a bad event is what will bring the reality check. You need for that to happen in your life to make you understand what is important and what isn't, who your friends are and who aren't. As long as you're a celebrity and you're famous, oh yeah, people are running after you. They want your money. They want the power that comes with you. And the minute there's that crash and you lose something, you lost your celebrity status or whatever. That's the learning process. And when that tragedy happens, when people leave you and nobody wants to be around you, and you suddenly realize, my gosh, my life is alone. My journey is alone. You'd wish you had learned that lesson much earlier in an easier way, in a setting like this, with me telling you, you know what? Your journey is alone. Yeah, you're not taking it seriously. What do you mean my journey is alone? I've got this one, I've got that, I've got this one, I've got that. But when the universe decides that's the lesson you need to learn, it'll all get taken away in a flash. In a flash. And you learn the lesson that you need to learn. And you can't learn it because until you let go of your mind and you get to perfect surrender. Perfect surrender. Because in surrender, you are completely aligned with the universe. And when you are aligned with the universe, it lifts you up. It lifts you up in supreme consciousness to that level. You get godified. You get empowered. And then you see, you take tragedy, and what's the opposite of tragedy? Not comedy. It would be the opposite. Good stuff. Good stuff. You take the bad and the good stuff the same way. Not too ruffled by one, not too ruffled by the other. You just put on your deflector and go through life. Do what has to be done. And stop thinking that death is a punishment. It's going to happen to each one of us. So are we having millions and billions of punishments? You identify too strongly with this body. Too strongly. And you think that this life is everything. That if you're born, you will die. That you don't want to face. We want to do everything possible to avert that terrible misfortune. And especially towards the end of our life, where in the last 5 years of our life, we will spend every dollar that we earned to prolong it. Why? There's no need. You've got to let it go and die with dignity. Whenever you go, you go. However you go, you go. Whether it's a gunshot wound, or it's you sleep, die in bed, or you die, swimming in the sea, or with a virus, or you get a disease, or you get a heart attack. I mean, somehow you have to go, right? Why is one thing a tragedy and another not? That's how we're viewing things, right? It's our perspective. It's how much that means to us. How much we have taken it and just said, this is mine. This mine belongs to me. I own it. And when it's gone, you can't deal with the loss. Because it was yours. But if you think about it, nothing was yours to begin with. Nobody else's life is in your control. Your journey is alone. If you learn this one lesson early in life, it empowers you. Whatever you do, whether you have somebody holding your hand or not, you're doing this alone. Nothing is a tragedy. Nothing is a tragedy because it always makes you learn. If you look back on every bad event, you'll see that out of it came some growth. Out of it came some spiritual progress. Out of it came this inner sinking into consciousness. And if that is happening, how can it be bad? In the eyes of the divine, that's a wonderful thing. If the divine had eyes. So yeah, compassion is a wonderful thing, but compassion is the perfume of meditation. When you crush meditation, what gets released is compassion. Compassion is not kindness. Compassion is not mercy. Compassion is that feeling of oneness with all of humanity. And that is the ultimate aim of meditation. That is the ultimate aim of meditation. And when you have compassion, nothing is really a tragedy. Because you feel as much for the one who has suffered, for the one who is angry, for the one who is unconscious, for the one who is cruel, in equal proportions. Your compassion holds no bounds. It is very different from kindness, mercy, or any other quality that you discuss. And I think I have done a video in the past, passion, dispassion and compassion. It's a very good video to watch. And there I have explained how you get to this place of compassion. But in the meantime, live each minute for now and die to the past. Let the past go. What happened yesterday doesn't count. What happened day before yesterday doesn't count. Today you wipe everything clean and begin on a clean slate. There's no tragedy. There's nothing to get over. There is only being here this minute with happiness in your heart, knowing that happiness is your birthright. Nothing else.